The map looks like it was made in 1995. Wow. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Mount & Blade Ultimate Guide. Today I'm going to teach you the basic tutorial of playing Mount & Blade Warband and any other Mount & Blade game in general. Please don't hate on this video. I'm making this video just for the beginners. If you know how to play Mount & Blade, already, don't watch this video. It's not really for you. It's for people who just started. So let me begin with character creation. So at the very start, it tells you that Mount & Blade is a very good game where you get to choose all kinds of things. It's an RPG, of course. And it states specifically, actually, that it's harder to play the game as a peasant or as a lady, as a female. There's two genders, of course, male and female. If you do play the game, it's much harder to be a female king. I've done it before. It's much harder. If you want an easy early game, a male is a very good start. So this is choosing who your father was. All of these options are pretty self-explanatory. Like, you know, if your father was a noble, you're of nobility. The game is easier for you. Each option gives you different stats. Like a hunter gives you better bow stats, and like a veteran warrior gives you better sword or lance stats. Things like that. You just look through them. They're pretty self-explanatory. All of these options actually are self-explanatory. It gives you options on choosing your backstory, and each option that you pick gives you a certain amount of stats and a certain amount of weapon proficiency and skills. So the easiest combat early game is either choosing Impoverished Noble as your father, a page as a kid, and a squire as a young adult. This last one, why you choose Adventure, I'm actually not very sure. I can't tell you what exact stats it picks, but generally Personal Revenge gives you the best combat stats, so I've heard. That's all I have to say about that. So you start off with the stats that your background gives you, and also extra ability stats to put in yourself. I'm naming myself Jimbo Wahoo. You get to name yourself Strength, Agility, Intelligence, Charisma. Strength gives you more health and more damage. Agility gives you more movement and faster weapon speed. Intelligence gives you an extra point in skill point, in which you use in your other skills, and Charisma gives you one extra space for the amount of men you can have in your party. I'm not going to explain this too much. You'll figure it out along the game. It's actually pretty decent. It tells you what to do and tells you what each gives you. So this is the character customization menu. You can actually customize your character anytime during your game by going to your character screen. There's an option to customize your character. I quickly did it. You can do all kinds of facial features if you want to. It's very fun to play around with. I'm not going to do that right now because that'd be a waste of your time. So at the very start, if you noticed, I picked going to the Kingdom of Vhagar. You'll actually find out why. At the start, you fight this one bandit which attacks you. You don't have to beat him. Either way, you're not going to die. The merchant's going to either rescue you or come back for you. So the merchant is your first quest. He had 5 men for you to save his, I think, brother or sister or something like that. So this is the world map. You can travel around. The most easy unit that you can fight is looters. You'll have a certain amount of spotting. You can see to a certain range. And you can fight these looters. These looters are the easiest. They're unarmored. They have crappy weaponry. They give you a good beginner start. So as you can see, I have a sword and shield and a crossbow. If you chose Squire, this is what you start off with. This, if you press backspace, you get this menu. This is your combat strategic menu. It showcases all your troops, all the commands you can give to your troops, things like that. If you notice on this map, you see these red dots. Those are actually your enemies, and it helps you find your enemies in this giant map. Sometimes it's hard. So I'm going to tell you the easiest way to first at the very start. You see I have a crossbow, and I'm shooting them at these looters. Take note that the bolt does go down. It curves down. Gravity does exist in this game. So if they're far away, you might have to aim away. What you do, the easiest way to fight these looters is just, since they don't have a lot of range weapons, just ride around on your horse. When you're far away from the looters, turn around and shoot them. This is the absolute easiest way to fight footmen, to fight looters. I'll teach you a more of this later in my later videos. It's not going to be a 10-minute video, probably like a 2 or 3 minute video. So you just do this, you ride around, you shoot people, rinse and repeat. This is also a very good way to practice your using your horse, because the horse option is actually very complicated. Some beginners find it hard to fight with the horse. So you can practice riding your horse, because you're not actually going around swinging your sword, and that makes it easier. Sped it up a little so you don't have to do anything. So this is the if you go back to your starting place, this is your character. You can switch different kinds of weapons and things like that. Like the strategy I showed you, sometimes you run out of bolts. If you do buy a bunch of bolts and keep them in your inventory, you can switch them out for your empty bolts, and you can continue to do that, and you'll basically not get hit ever. It's a very good way to start off to learn how to ride your horse. I suggest you do it. If you want to do other things, of course you can do that. Looters aren't that dangerous anyways, but you know, it's easy and it's foolproof. So yeah, go around just swinging, fighting these looters. You see, I'm actually showing you a little here. If you point your sword down on a horse, it's hard to hit looters. It's hard to hit footmen, because you're kind of swing right at your side, rather than pointing your camera right down where your sword will miss the guys. Point it kind of on a side 45 degrees angle. Your sword will go straight in and it'll hit either their head or the upper part of their body, and that usually does a lot of damage. So yeah, finished with fighting these looters. If you control and click these items, they'll automatically go to your inventory. Some people just drag them, which takes a lot more time. Yeah, so when you get items, the first thing you should do is go and sell it to a city, because number one, of course, it gives you money. You go to the marketplace, you sell it, it gives you money. Number two is that you can only have a certain amount of inventory space, and you want to keep that inventory space so you'll be able to carry more items when you fight more people. Every time you win a battle, you do get items. So that is so this is the arms merchant. You can buy all kinds of armor and things, weapons and things like that. Horse merchant, you buy different horses. I'll go into that later in my other videos. So this is the tavern. This is where you recruit your guys, you talk to people, recruit men, things like that. So last thing I actually want to show you very quickly is I started out in Vhagar territory. I'm going to go to Rivacheg. I skipped through that whole traveling part because that would just be boring. You go to Rivacheg. I'm going to show you something that will benefit your early game. You go to Rivacheg and you press take a walk around the street. When you take the walk around the street, you'll see the city. And you see over here the merchant sign. You see the sign over here, the merchant side. And then in front of the merchant side, you'll see a kind of little church. Right in front of the church is a chest. And it has two items, a strange short sword, which you're probably not going to need. The sword that you start off with is usually better. But what you want is the strange armor. It gives you plus 40 armor. So it gives you armor for good armor that usually costs about 2k to buy. It's very good. It's free. It's easy. So yeah, that ends my tutorial. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.